Hey guys and gals, Young Gun Umpires here. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. We want to welcome Shane Rigdon, who is a very personal, close friend of mine, known to most people down here in Southeast Louisiana as Boss. Um, Shane's not only well known around the greater New Orleans area as well, but also throughout the great state of Louisiana. He's umpired for over 33 years at the high school level, as well as as many years in the collegiate ranks. He now serves as the regional coordinator of officials for the greater New Orleans area. Thanks for joining us, boss.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here, guys.
Boss, how about you start us off with a start to finish, kind of where you started, how you got to where you are now.
Okay, my officiating story starts back when I was about 13 years old. Local playground needed somebody to umpire 7 and 8 year olds, and I kind of lived at the playground. So I guess the playground supervisor said, since he's always here, I may as well put him to work. Uh, had no training, had just played the game as a kid, and God knows how many wrong calls and rules I messed up. But $5 a game back then was a lot of money, and I just wanted to get involved. And I'm going to be completely honest. I was probably bitten by the bug the first day out there, and I did that for probably 6 years or so. Um, then stopped for a while. Got into my later 20s and realized that I missed it, and that I could also go back and I could make some money um, calling games. And when I started, I mean, I was in my 20s now, back doing 7 and 8 year olds and men's softball leagues. Um, and it was about a whopping $13 a game back then. But it got me back interested. And although I worked men's softball for quite a few years, I realized that um, baseball was where I wanted to direct my attention. And I started mixing with the right people in the association. Uh, Started getting positive feedback from those guys on the baseball field, and really, realized that I had a chance here to become a real good high school umpire, and we could see where it would go from there. But it's obviously something that I still enjoy doing, because, like Jacob said, it's over 33 years now. I spent about 15 years doing local college baseball in the New Orleans area that that I enjoyed. Never got affiliated with a conference. Uh, I worked for 35 years as a mailman, and conference work just never intrigued me, just because of the travel. I wasn't interested in all the travel, and you have to take days off at the end of the week, sometimes at the beginning of the next week. And um, I didn't want to travel, and I didn't want to use all of my vacation time umpiring baseball. There was plenty enough work around here for me to do, and I enjoyed doing it. Um, Probably about, well, I'm gonna say about 14, 15 years ago, the assigners position in our local association came open, and I I volunteered to do it because there wasn't anybody who wanted to do it, um, and did that for about 5 or 6 years. Then the state stepped in, and back then we had like 5 different umpiring associations in the state of Louisiana. I'm sorry, in the city of New Orleans. We probably had 40 across the state, and the state stepped in and said that we were going to go to 12 different associations across the state, and they listed what those areas were. And I thought about it, and I was kind of turned off by it at first. And then I started thinking about the 30 men that worked for me for the last 5 or 6 years. They gave me everything they had. They did a tremendous job. They were always where they were supposed to be, on time, never caused any problems. And to be perfectly honest, the thing that made me decide to put in for this job was the fact that I didn't know whose hands they were going to fall into. And that bothered me, that they could fall into the. I didn't want to see any of them leave. I didn't want them to have a bad experience. So, about 48 hours out, I submitted my application, and I beat down the competition. There was only one other guy, so I mean, I really, I had to beat out a whole bunch of people. I'm being facetious, but I guess I was the lesser of two evils when it came down to it. So, and it's led me to where I'm at. It's a labor of love. I enjoy it. I enjoy, seeing people come up through the ranks and get an opportunity to move on.
Yeah, boss. We definitely appreciate your work here in Southeast Louisiana. I know I appreciate it. I know I've told some of the guys how much I appreciate the name Crescent City Umpires. It has helped develop me into what I am today. Obviously, and boss, I know you'll contest to this, but it's a lot more than Shane Rigdon. It's people like David Satter and Steve Barbier and Alex Ziegler and guys like that. The original people. So I know it's been a tough road for you, and you've done a great job. So I'm very appreciative of it for sure.
Well, I thank you, but there have been a lot of hands that have molded this thing into what it is, and we got a long way to go. But the one name that you mentioned, I would be remiss if I didn't publicly thank David Satter, because a lot of times when you have a position, you have a right-hand man. Well, David's my right hand and my left hand, and he handles a lot of stuff in this association, and stuff that other signers they have to deal with on their own, and he does the work for me, and a lot of it's dealing with with the state association, getting people registered, and testing and login information and everything. He does a tremendous job with that, and I tell him all the time that the day he quits is the day I quit, because I don't even want to start learning how to do all of that stuff. But he's been a tremendous help.
Absolutely. Boss, we'll jump right into our questions. Sean, go ahead and take it away for us.
So Shane, as an assigner, what do you look for in umpires when you're assigning games to them?
And I assume what you mean is you're talking about who do I send where? Is that what you're basically looking for?
Who do you send where?
How do I make that determination?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, what I've learned over the years is that there are, just like every baseball team has players that can play certain positions. In our association, we have guys that we can put in any position. That some of them don't have the experience. Some of them, for whatever reason, the game may not fit their talents. And one thing that I tell the guys is that I am going to put you in the situation where I feel you have a chance to be successful. And by being successful is, it might have something to do with a certain coach. It might have something to do with the intensity of the game. It might have something to do with the lack of intensity in the game. So it doesn't necessarily mean that, I have my umpires separated into groups of A, B, C, D, E, whatever. But it's you have to, in my mind, and since I'm the assigner of this association, you have to be able to go out there in that game and come out relatively successful. That doesn't mean by any stretch of the imagination that I haven't been wrong in assigning people. And sometimes situations come up, and for whatever reason, it doesn't get handled the right way. It doesn't necessarily fall on one guy; it falls on the crew. But it's not the easiest thing in the world. You know, I don't know if you all deal with arbiter, but I know there's different assigning mechanisms out there. And, you know, the easiest thing for me to do would be go in there and hit auto assign and just turn around and walk away from it. But you know, like I said, we have different level of umpires in this association that I have to figure out where they go, and I do a lot of riding around in the southeast part of Louisiana during the baseball season, watching umpires work. And you know, the best gauge that you can have as an assigner is to see them work and see how they handle situations and what they can do. And that's basically the way that I handle it.
Yeah, and I know we heard a lot of kind of the same deal from Alex Candelas when we had him on as well. You know, just watching guys work is, you know, kind of the best way to get.
Well, you know, Sean, it's a sticky situation. I mean, it can be, because I've never met an umpire who doesn't think that he can't handle the number one game of the day or the premier matchup in this district. Okay, but it's a feeling that I have to have, that I have to know that I have guys that are gonna handle their business for the most part. Jacob will tell you, I got catchphrases I use all the time, and one of them is, the most important game of the day is the one that your feet are on the field, and it doesn't matter who the two teams are. You owe it to those kids, you owe it to those coaches, you owe it to those fans, and what a lot of people forget is you owe it to yourself, because if you take pride in this and you want to be successful at it, you have to look at it that way. It might end up being a 22-1 game, but you know what? If it's the game that I worked today, that was the most important game of the day to me.
He should trademark it.
Yeah, you want me to trademark something I can't even turn on a computer?
What do you say to those people that want to be at the bigger games? What do you say to those guys that want to be there and that not necessarily you feel as though they aren't at that level yet?
You know, that's a great question, because I've had that question numerous times over the last 15 years, and my stat answer is I have to feel that you can handle being in that game. Now, I'm not saying I'm 100% right. I'm not saying I'm always right. You know, but I've developed a pretty good feel for this. There's been some situations where, you know, guys have asked me, "Hey, come out and work with me. I want you to see what I can do, you know, so I can get better games." And you know, we've had conversations that range from you know, "Hey, look, you know what? You're working hard. Just keep working hard. Keep your head down. Keep moving forward. Do the right things. Show up on time. Have a nice uniform on. Be able to communicate with coaches. You keep working hard, and things will fall into place." I've also had the other side of the coin where I had a conversation with an umpire one time, and when we were finished, he was truly upset, and I wasn't trying to upset him, but he wanted the truth, and he said, "Don't mince words," and I didn't, and I was so scared. I'm not scared, but I was so taken back by him being upset. I called him like 3 times on his way home because he had about a 40-minute ride to make sure he made it home. I mean, he was truly upset. And it wasn't my intention. But I can tell you as an assigner, and I got a feeling it's like this across the country. I need every umpire I can get my hands on. Everyone. I don't care. I don't care whether you get the big. I got guys that never want the big game. They say they all pay the same. You just send me where I'm going to run into the least amount of problems. That's all I want. I get it. If that's what you want, that's fine. Not everybody wants to work those games. Not everybody wants to move up into the college ranks or possibly go to pro school. Not everybody wants to do that. So I need every one of them I can get my hands on, because we're struggling. I'm gonna throw some numbers at you guys, and Jacob knows this all too well. I assigned for 60 schools in the greater New Orleans area. And it's a pretty big area, okay? It's not easy to get to some of these places that we go to. Some of them are an hour and a half. Drive South Plaquemine is probably an hour and 40 minutes to get all the way down to the mouth of the Mississippi River. I normally do that with about 70 umpires. So, you do the math and you say, gee, that's 1 umpire per game. There's a lot of games down here that coaches get asked to move the game time back an hour so I can get this crew from this park to another park. Hey, you just can't play that day. We got to move it. It's a task, but we are a strong association. I put my guys up against anybody in the state, and we can see where that falls out. But it's not through lack of effort that we're struggling with numbers, but it's really kind of puzzling why people just don't. I don't get it, but we're working on those things.
Yeah, the guys, I tell him all the time, I don't want it, but I'm glad he has it. That's what I tell him. I don't want it, but I'm glad he has it. I don't know how he does it, because you got to realize that those 70 guys, those 60 schools, not everybody's available every day. You run into things that happen all the time, so it's a difficult job, and it's not just his job, it's all around the country, hopefully people get from this video that the respect that you should have for your assignments, because it's not as easy as clicking a button or sending a text message. There's a lot of thought process that goes into this, and there's some tough decision making that has to happen with a lot of factors.
That is correct.
So what do you think the best way for an umpire to balance their time between family, work, and baseball is?
We go over this every year at our yearly meeting, and we don't go into a lot of detail, but it is brought up, and I've got to tell you guys that it's tough. I mean, if you have a spouse, if you have a family, it can get dicey sometimes. But I got to say that I got the greatest wife in the world, and she allows me to do this kind of stuff. And Jacob, what do I say? If our spouses or our partners didn't want us to do it, we wouldn't be doing it. And it's tough. You have to rank them. You have to know where they come in a line of importance. You have to know your goals. What are your goals? Your goal is just to make a few extra dollars. Is your goal to move to the premier game of the day? Is it to get to the college level? Your goals are going to dictate how you go into this a lot of times. We have guys that they just say, work me every day. I need the money. never interested in moving along the ladder or anything. They just want the money. Maybe at that person's house, that umpire coming home with money every night is what makes the family happy. Maybe there's other motivations behind it, but it's a delicate balance that each individual umpire has to weigh out and has to come up with. For me to sit here and say, Sean, for you have to umpire 65% of the time, and then you go to your day job 30%, and you hardly see your family. I mean, there's no percentages. It's just the feel. And like I said, the most important thing is to get the people in your household on your side and behind you with this. And I was fortunate enough to have, the support of a family who understood how important it is to me, and to this day still understand. And they still support me. As a matter of fact, they probably going to watch this recording. My wife's sitting in the next room listening to everything I'm saying. So I love them for what they allowed me to do, because I'm sure there were things I missed along the way, but it's a delicate balance, and you have to find your own sweet spot with it.
Darlene, I hope you're watching. You're a saint. We all believe know it. God knows it, most importantly.
The other aspect to that too is I'm thinking about this, and I've never met you, Shane, and I've heard a lot from Jacob, and from what I can see right now, you're a great guy, great husband, great father, great assigner. The assigners have to have that understanding of their umpires as well, of what they want to get out of this, and how much they're willing to do. Up here, Sean and I are both blessed with great assigners at the high school and college level, that they know that family and your health and everything comes first. Baseball is second. So when there's assigners that understand that makes our lives much easier.
Absolutely. And it's go back to what I said about umpires that want different things out of it. The guy who is trying to better himself, he is trying to move up the ladder. If you think they can handle it, if you think they can be successful, you can put them in a better, a more competitive game. Because let's realize one thing: the game of the day that most people would look at on the schedule and say, I hope I don't get that one. It might be two teams that really aren't very good, but it might be the best game played that day. We don't know when we go out there. I mean, we can assume, but you have to go out there with the impression that I'm here to do a good job, and I'm going to do the best job I can regardless of who's on the field. But as an assigner, knowing what your umpires are looking for is extremely helpful. It's just part of the equation. It goes along with, is this guy available today? Can he get off by this time? Can he get from where he's at to where I need him for this? It's just you could build the equation all day long, and it's just one of those pieces of knowledge that you have that helps you do this job. Now, don't think for one second that just because there's a guy sitting out there saying that he wants to move up and he wants to get better, I go watch him work or actually go work with them, and they just have they don't have the best game. As far as an assignment secretary, if I work with you and you don't have the best game, and we sit in the locker room after the game, and the first thing that comes out of your mouth was, "Man, I wasn't too good today. I was nervous. I was working with you." Well, I mean, right there, it's like you're looking for excuses. and I'm not big in the excuse world. Just tell me, hey, I didn't have too good of a zone today. Hey man, you know what? We're gonna work on that. We're gonna get it better.
Do you feel that your area does a good job on recruiting, developing, and retaining umpires?
I'm gonna say 2 out of 3 is not bad. We do a tremendous job on training umpires. We're pretty successful at retaining umpires. But for a while now, and I explained the numbers to you all a little bit earlier, it's just tough to get people out there who want to do it. So what I'll do is I'll touch on the training aspect. For about 6-7 years now, we, as an association, have started in late August with weekly rules classes, sometimes twice a week, right, Jacob? Sometimes twice a week, with first and second year umpires. And what I mean by first and second, brand new umpire and a guy who has 1 year under his belt. We'll go through the rules. We have a rules guy, Steve Barbier, who's second to none, and he does a tremendous job with this training. He and a fellow by the name of Adam Bishop, about 4 or 5 years ago, developed this training on. They wrote out the whole program, and they have a slideshow that I say slideshow, I'm dating myself, that they go over all the rules, the whole rule book. That goes for about 6 weeks. Then usually around the first week of October, we have a fall baseball league that one of our former high school baseball coaches runs at the local playground. And usually around 3 nights a week, we have these younger umpires out there going through the motion. We'll usually have 1 or 2 instructors standing by the plate and 1 or 2 instructors standing by first base, and just picking apart what they're doing, just trying to get them comfortable, because we've all seen the guy that put him behind the plate and he's rolling along pretty good, and his zone's on, he's got to get better at it, but it's not bad, and then all of a sudden something happens, swing that hits the batter, the ball, a swing where the ball hits the batter, or where he fouls it off his foot, or whatever, and a guy behind the plate freezes. He's never called this before, so he doesn't know what to do. So we do that all the way up until right before Thanksgiving, and we take about 6 weeks off, and we come back hard at the beginning of the year. The retaining, I've surrounded my guys, myself with a core guys that they understand that the message has to be positive. That although we're trying to train these people, we have to keep them interested. We have to offer them help. We have to want to sit down with them before a game and go through a decent pregame with them, and we want to sit down with them after the game and go do a postgame with them. The people are never going to learn if you don't tell them what they could have done better. And these guys are the ones that I lean on, and through these things like that, doing somewhat of a mentorship with some people, that they can pick up the phone and they can call and ask questions, because they don't always work together, but it's something that builds a positive recollection of what they've done. Because if you send them out there and they're set up for failure every time they go out and they fail, usually the third or fourth time they're going to say, you know what, this isn't for me. Okay, but if you reinforce them with positive stuff, you can be honest with them and tell them how they can improve. But you find something that they did good. Okay, you should never throw a negative at a person if you don't have a positive to follow it up with to make them feel good. Now to get to the recruiting part, not sure if any of you all are members of NASO, but I'm a member of NASO and I've been to like the last 4 NASO summits. And in 2017, the NASO did a national survey of sports officials and of their members, almost 30,000 members. And the average age of sports officials in 2017 was somewhere around, on a high school level, was somewhere around 52 years old. And that's pretty depressing. Then out of that, the president of our association, David Satter, got the idea to go and do his own study amongst our association. And our average age was just north of 55 years old. So it tells you that there needs to be an influx of young bloods. And it doesn't mean you have to be 20, 22 years old. You know, you could be a young official at 35, 40 years old. And the state has begun to do some things to help us out in this area, as far as they'll send out a blast, an email blast on a mailing list that they have about become an official, join the LHSOA, give back to the game, make extra money, make new friends, that kind of stuff. And anytime that they get a reply where somebody's interested in becoming a baseball umpire in the New Orleans area, that response will automatically come to me. I'll shoot them a email or a text, end up calling them on the phone. The amount of people that have stuck around through that process is minimal compared to what we would like it to be. Jacob and Ziggy approached me a couple of weeks ago about going out to some of the high school teams during the summer, and like after practice, sitting down and talking to them, and just maybe a 10-minute thing. It's amazing that some of these kids who play sports, they don't get into it because I don't know what you all make in high school in your area, but the pay for a high school umpire, including travel in the New Orleans, well, in the state of Louisiana, is $90 to start, $75 for a game fee, $15 for travel. Your travel could go up. A couple places travel's like $30, $35. Now obviously there's travel time, but if you do a game in the city, let's say average time 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I mean, you're making $35 an hour. But people, especially younger people who just came out of the game, might be in college or whatever. They'd rather go work at the local fast food place, and I don't know how many of them know that they can make the amount of money that we make. And we're not talking about get rich money, but as a college kid, you do that 3 times a week and you got $250 in your pocket, as opposed to, and you might have worked, let's say 10 hours. I mean, that's pretty good money. So we have begun speaking with some coaches. We're going to start setting up some stuff because hopefully on the 5th of June, the state is going to allow teams to start practicing and playing again, and we're going to send them out there and see what we can do.
Yeah, Shane, you're absolutely right. The game really needs an influx of young people who are committed to this, and that's what we're really all about here at Young Gun Umpires. And I think that speaks to your point about mentorship. I really think that when an umpire is starting out, his partner for his first 10, 12 games might dictate whether you have him in 3 years or he decides to step away or not. Just because if you can get a new person to get that quote unquote itch, just get hitched on, really get himself to be committed to it, you're pretty much set. He will do whatever it takes for him to get better. And I think that's why it's really important to attach new umpires with not only talented umpires that have more experience, but also good people that want the best for them.
Yeah, those are good points. Those are very good points. And, it's like over the years, I've kind of taken some guys under my wing, and Jacob can attest to this. And I put a lot that I have into them. And, it's a rewarding feeling when you've made a difference in not somebody's officiating career, but their life, and it's a feeling of satisfaction, but you also know that person is better because of it. And look, the five of us sitting here right now, and the millions that watch the recording that's going to take place over the next couple of months of this thing, we all know the camaraderie that's built here, okay? And we just want to share that with people, but not everybody wants to go out there and get yelled at by mom and dad. They see that part of it. They don't see the 45 minutes in the locker room before the game and the dinners after game and cutting up and just ragging on each other. And I could tell a story about one of the guys on this thing right here, right now. I mean, he came busting out behind the plate. He was covering third base. He was gonna be there. He was gonna have the and let me tell you, he'll tell you this is the first probably quote unquote big game he ever had.
100%. 100%.
It had rained earlier that morning, and the field was soft, and he went down. He popped up. His pants leg were all muddy, but he made the call. And he was embarrassed. But you know what? That's part of it. That's what builds it. That's what, because we can sit here and talk about it right now, and we can laugh about it. It's a tough thing. The camaraderie. I got friends, okay, and some of them are officials and some of them aren't. But the ones I talk to most of the time are officials.
And just so we're clear, I resent that. It was a pop-up slide, and I had to stop the brakes because Bunny was going pretty fast. So I had to slow the train down a little bit.
The pop-up slides are usually reserved for the players.
And I will tell you right now, Joe Sherman wasn't too happy because I left a big divot in his infield. So
yes, you did.
And but I'll tell you, man, going back to the college kid stuff, Nick and Sean, I know y'all know exactly what he's talking about putting that money in the pocket, man. I know y'all know exactly what he's talking about when he says that. And going back to all the training stuff and the camaraderie, that I can go down the list of people that, I mean, obviously, Nick and Sean, you guys, there's nothing like Cooperstown, New York. I mean, there's nothing like it. The amount of friends that we've made, the camaraderie. But, even just in Crescent City umpires, from, Shane Rigdon to Alex Ziegler to Mike Summers to Luke Weems, all those guys that, the camaraderie that's been created between all of us. And I can't say it enough, man. The bug definitely bit me early on, and you can tell right here between us, just us four, and Nick, Sean, and Nobu, we're so passionate about helping guys out. We know that feeling of fighting and battling, not knowing what's going to go on. Not, the knowledge scare, whatever it may be. And so this is what this is all about right here. This insight, this knowledge, that's what this is for, this page is for, and I love where we're going with it.
You know, I want to go back to something Nobu said as far as kind of like the mission of this group. This is absolutely tremendous. Okay. I wish I had something like this 33, 35 years ago when I started. I wish there were people that cared enough to do something like this. Obviously, we didn't have the technology back then, but the fact that you guys have come up with this and are doing it is to be commended. And if we could get into a point where there's some young umpire out there who just happens to come across it and maybe doesn't understand why his assigner did this or watches Alex's video and says, man, that might be interesting, trying to become a pro. If it helps out one,
yep,
it's worth it. It's a tremendous thing, and I don't want that to go unstated. What you all are doing is extremely important. I've tried to turn people on to the site, and hopefully we can do that a little more, and you all can become even more successful than you all have. But you're to be commended for doing this.
Yeah, and one more thing to add. I know we have some other questions, Sean, but going back to what he talks about the state doing what they do for us, it doesn't get talked about a lot, and it's all fun and games, right? It's all, but it starts at the top. And for us, obviously, and you guys know who Lee Sanders is. I've talked to you about him. It starts at the top when he's talking about those emails and stuff. That's not just stuff happening from the administration of LHSA. That's the lead director, the director of officials, that is sending that stuff out, that's working with our assignment secretaries to create a formula to try and continue to recruit and retain officials. And he has the numbers all the time in all of his speeches, anything that goes on. And so it starts at the top at every place, but we're doing our part, and he's exactly right. Something for to be commended for.
Yeah, Lee's done a tremendous job since taking over 2 years ago, and he's working hard. I got to say, we've had conversations the last couple of weeks, and he's putting me to the task to get a couple of things done. And I'm gonna have to step up my technology game, because we're probably gonna have to have Zoom meetings, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to lead and everything. So, but he's doing a tremendous job, and I enjoy working for him.
Kind of explain the importance of blocking and maintaining your schedule.
Whew, wow.
Whole entire thing. I promise you, this is his favorite question.
And I know Jacob had a hand in writing these questions, because I know he knows how much this is a pet peeve of mine. In baseball, when we assign umpires, we understand we have to do the job once. And occasionally, because of rain, or maybe from where you guys are, might be snow, might be too cold, games get canceled. We understand we have to take care of that. But if you want to get on my wrong side, let me send you an assignment that you didn't block the date for, and you have to notify me that by declining the assignment, or even worse yet, you let it go to 48 hours and then it expires, and now I feel obligated to make a phone call to you and say, hey, did you see the assignment I sent you? Because I've had guys sometimes say, well, I never got it, so I didn't know it was there. Okay. But it is one of the most aggravating things about this job is when umpires don't take care of what they're supposed to take care of. And now I have to go back and I have to do the job twice. And it's not because of Mother Nature. It's because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. And most I try to understand. Look, this is one of the things that I've been working on, and Jacob knows firsthand that when guys cancel on me or they don't do what they're supposed to do, it aggravates me to no end, and I have to work at being a better person in those situations, and it's something that I'm constantly working on. But if you want to stay friends with your assignment secretary or your regional coordinator of officials, then my suggestion is you handle the things that you're supposed to handle. Just to give you an idea, it's Mardi Gras season. Unfortunately, baseball usually starts right before Mardi Gras season does down here. And I sent a couple assignments out to a young man, and he declined them. And when he declined them, he wrote in the comment section. He says, "Riding in a parade Saturday night." Well, in that situation, it's kind of like your wife being pregnant. Months ahead of time.
Yep.
It's not something that just popped on you yesterday, and we're gonna, that. So basically, what you're telling me is that you don't care. You don't care to take care of your business, and if you're not going to take the time and the effort to do what you're supposed to do, why should I extend myself? I'm not saying I'm not going to give you games, but the level of games you get is determined by you, and it's not just a job you do on the field.
Yep.
It's a job that you do off the field. It's the things, how you handle yourself. If you're somebody who's always got excuses, you're probably just going to get what's left over. So as a young umpire, if you're working on one of these assigning systems for your assignments, my suggestion is to go in there and block your dates and your times ahead of time, so that the assigner doesn't have to work double. Because I can tell you, they don't pay me double. They don't pay me double. So I'm not looking to do twice the work.
Yeah, and I was a college student, and I umpired high school baseball all 4 years. I did high school for 4, college for 3. And what I would actually do is my arbiter would actually become my personal schedule during the season.
Yep.
So I would literally be putting, for only I could see, hey, I have a birthday this date. So then I could actually put everything around my games instead, because I would actually make my class schedule a lot of early classes so then I could get out and do these games.
Correct.
Correct. I know, we all know life happens, things come up, late notice, but having a good understanding and really sitting down before the season starts to really just hammer out that availability is very important. So.
Yeah, and I don't know how other assigners do it. I stay 7 to 10 days out. Okay. I tried to go 2 weeks out at one point, and just found that I'd get more last minute cancellations. I stay 7 to 10 days out, and you have plenty notice of the game, and your work schedule, your home schedule, your extracurricular schedule should be made by that time. So it's very important. Like you said, life happens, and we can't dictate that. People's cars break down, they get into auto accidents, they get mandatory overtime, somebody gets sick. You got to deal with those things, and sometimes the notice comes so late that a 2-man system just became a 1-man system because it's too late to get somebody there. Especially if they got to drive 45 minutes and the game's in a half hour. I mean, You don't want to be that guy walking on the field 15 minutes after they start because you catch all the heat, you know. But in a rare occurrence, that happens. But it's very important to stay on top of your dates and your blocks and make your assigner's job that much more easier.
So, in the event that you do have to turn back a game, in your opinion, what's the best way to go about it?
I prefer a phone call, and I prefer honesty. You know, Jacob could call me and say, "Look, I can't make it today. I just got told I got to work 2 hours over." He might be going to play a round of golf. Okay.
Maybe now.
He does need to get better at that.
Yeah.
I do. Hey, maybe now. I'll tell you that now.
But the thing is that I'm not big on text messages for cancellations, and I'm definitely against emails for cancellations. And look, I get it. The person who's canceling, they probably don't want to speak to me. Okay, not that I'm gonna fly off the handle or I'm gonna get mad at them. But it's just like calling in sick to work. You'd rather call into a voicemail than to talk to your boss, you know. So I just prefer the phone call and being honest, because it's gonna set. If I know you're being honest, and I mean I have to judge because I'm not gonna go follow you and see where you go. But you know, I had a guy a couple of years ago cancel on me 2 straight weeks, 2 separate occasions within a half hour of the game, and both times he got into a car wreck. Well, the first time I believe he got into a car wreck. The second time it just seemed too coincidental that he, you know, more than likely he didn't. But honesty is always the best policy. And I might not like your reason for not being able to make the game, but I prefer it in a phone call and as soon as you know. You know, if you know at 8 o'clock in the morning, it's a whole lot easier for me to get somebody to replace you at 3:30 or 4 o'clock than it is at 2:30.
So what's one thing that you look at in an umpire when they come to you and ask if they're ready to move up from the high school to the college level?
Man, that's tough. That's tough. I've had that question, and you know, I try to figure out, by asking them what's their motivation for the quote moving up. You know, I've got guys in my association that they probably haven't reached the top of the chain in this association, and they're thinking of moving up. When I started at this, the guy who locally assigned college baseball, you had to work high school baseball for 5 years before he'd even look at you, you know. But nowadays, as you all are aware of, there's these, you know, camps that you can go to and get seen by, you know, by these college evaluators and assigners and everything. And you know, it's kind of done differently now than when I first started at this. But you know, I'm not here to step on anybody's dream. If they ask, you know, I'll help them along. I'll help them along the way. Some of them make it. Some of them realize it's not what they want. I can tell you for 15 years I worked local college stuff: University of New Orleans, Tulane, Delgado, Southeastern, Nickel State, and in all that time, as much as I enjoyed it and as good a job as I think I may have done, I was never as comfortable as I am on a high school field. And when I got into it, there were some friends I had that had gotten into it, and we worked together a lot. And as time went on, they kind of moved their own way. And, you know, I was sitting there like, do I want to keep doing this? I don't know a lot of these people that I'm working with. But a person has to find out for themselves whether or not they're ready. And if they think that they're ready, I'm not gonna hold them down. I'm gonna say, yeah, look, yeah, I'll give you a phone number, somebody to get in touch with. You know, you maybe go to this camp, go to that camp. You know, they'll look at you and see. For some of them it works out, some of them it doesn't. But it's a tough situation to be put in, because some of them in the back of your mind, you know, they could probably take another year or two of high school baseball before they try to make that step. But that's hard to tell somebody.
100%.
I mean, I can tell you, Jacob, one of the first conversations we had, you know, was I told him, I said, look, man, you're good. You got potential. The problem you're going to run into on a college level is you're 21 years old. There's kids out on that field that are older than you, and that's hard. That's hard when you're that young. And you know, there's a lot of things I've tried to help him out with, and a lot of stuff he's listened to, and some of it he's made his own decisions, and that's fine, you know. But it's not an easy position to be put in, because you know it's probably in the person's best interest if they hang around and do a little more college. I mean, high school, get a little more seasoned on that level, as opposed to trying to move up. Not saying that day won't come. It just may not be now.
And that was one of the biggest things. I started college baseball at 20, and I look like I'm 12. That's what I tell people all the time. So that's one of the biggest things that I had to deal with. After a few seasons, the coaches got to know me, and they understood how I worked and everything. But that was the biggest thing, was the kids and the players didn't want someone their own age telling them what to do. So.
Sure. Nick, I'm right there with you. I mean, you know, him going back to saying and look, to say a conversation is a bit of an underestimation. I mean, me and Boss have probably had a million conversations about, you know, my collegiate career. You know, I've gotten hired into, you know, junior college baseball this past season for the local assigner that assigned JUCO, and you know, and especially even for Boss, it might have been a year or two early for him, you know, but I took a step out on faith. I took a step out on all my hard work and dedication, and it worked out for me. It's worked out so far, and, you know, but the most important thing, and all four of us in here know this, you know, especially, you know, Boo, being trying to work up in professional baseball, Sean and Nick being at the Division II and Division III levels, like, we got to keep our nose clean, especially at this point in our careers. There's a lot less that we can survive from than a guy that's been on the field for 15 plus years, than he can get away with or survive from. So, you know, it's a difficult thing for sure. And it's a tough spot to be in as an assigner and a quote unquote mentor.
So what's the importance of knowing your role within the organization?
As an individual umpire,
Yes.
self-awareness. You know, if you got to have a good self-awareness meter. You know, I mean, I've met hundreds of guys who thought they should be in one place, and I have them in a different place. You know, here we go back to another one of my favorite sayings. You know, if you want to answer to your umpiring career, go look in the mirror, because that's where it's at. All right, you're the one who controls it, and if you allow yourself to be receptive to the compliments as well as the criticisms, you're going to become a better official. If you're the guy, Jacob, who's the guy we don't like? Who's the one guy we don't like? And I'm not looking for a name. I'm talking about yeah, but.
Oh, yeah, but guy. Don't be a yeah, but guy. Don't be
Yeah,
a
but guy. Yeah, but guy turns me off every time.
famous words of Ziggy, and I think I've heard some stuff from Moorhead. So
yeah, it's you want people who are receptive. They may not always take it the right way, but it's like it's hard to help somebody who, I mentioned this earlier, who comes up with excuses. Oh, my assigner doesn't like me. I'm not in the clique. When I started out doing high school baseball, we had 145 guys in our baseball association 30 years ago. And I probably worked 2 years of 8th grade and JV baseball in one-man system. And the thing that motivated me was I didn't like being out there by myself. I wanted a partner out there with me. I wanted to get to that level. Nowadays, I was told recently, man, I've been doing this 25 years. I should be getting better games. Well, it's not the length of time that you've been doing it. It's what is the quality product that you bring in when you go out on the field? And if it's lacking, it's hard to build trust in people that aren't self-aware, and they have to just because you think, any one of you or anybody who's listening to this, just because you think you should be at a certain spot, it doesn't necessarily mean that the person who's sending out your assignments thinks you should be at that spot. And at the end of the day, it's my phone that's going to ring, and I'm the one who has to come up with the answers. I just think that not enough people look at their position in the association without their rose-colored glasses on. They thinking because I'm me, and this is what I do, this is what I should get, and it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Because I don't even like Jacob, and he gets good games, okay? But I know he can handle them, so.
That really hurt my heart, him saying he doesn't like me. I mean, I don't know if I can recover from that.
Maybe if your short game was better on the golf course, he would like you better.
Actually, that's my strong game. I just can't hit the ball off the tee. So.
All right, Shane, I have one more question for you, and then we're going to send it over to Nick to kind of wrap it up.
All right.
Explain the importance of being on time and being a good partner.
We're back to a pet peeve. On time. How's the saying go? If you're on time, you're late. So we have a standing rule in the association, 30 minutes. Actually, it says 30 to 45, but 30 is the least amount that we'll accept. There have been guys that have come and gone in this association because their assignments dried up because they can't get there till 10 minutes after the game started. If you got a problem getting there on time, just don't take the assignment. It's very important to be on time. These coaches are dependent on us to be there. They're dependent on us notifying them when we're there. They have guys asking, "Why I got to tell them I'm here?" That guy, he's got to put somebody out there to warm up. I mean, they got to know when they got to start their in and outs, and doesn't want to start his pitcher too soon or too late. So, you know, it's common courtesy. It's and this is a big word. It's professionalism. You know, we might do this part-time, but it doesn't mean we should, you know, not be professional about the job that we do. And being on time is part of professionalism, just like shining your shoes, just like having pleats in your pants. You know, you have to be professional. The part about being a good partner is, and this is where certain umpires differ. You know, you finish the game and they'll say, "Hey, tell me what you got." They say, "Man, you know what? That pitch at the knee, you were missing it the whole night. And all of a sudden, yeah, butt guy jumps up. Yeah, but wait, you know, he's not interested in what you have. He's interested in telling you what he had. And if he continues doing that, there's probably a good possibility it's not going to work out well for him in the long run, because people are going to shut down on you." You know, we've had situations with Jacob and a couple of the other younger guys, you know, where sometimes you got to stop and you got to put them in their place, and you got to say, "Look, you asked me, so listen to what I got. I don't care what you do with it, okay? But if you can't be honest with your partner," and I could go out there and I could work with a guy who I look at as better than me. This guy's better than me, no doubt. He's you know, in the food chain of umpires in this association, he's at the top. I'm below him. Okay. Most of those guys, I can tell something like that too. "Man, where were you on that rotation? Wait, we had a rotation." It happens. But if I just go in the locker room and say, "Hey, everything was good, man, no problems," regardless of how good or where you are in the pecking order, I'm not doing you any favors by not being as honest as I can be with you. Being a good partner also means not selling your partner out on the field. You know, you standing at first base and you know, the first base coach comes out and he said, "Blue, that second to last pitch last inning, where was that?" "Oh, my guy behind the plate missed it. He's been horrible the whole day." I mean, you can't do that. You know, you got to find a way around those kind of conversations. You know,
Yep.
And there's always. Now I might go in the locker room and say, "Jacob, he's almost terrible today."
Probably said
But
that.
I'm not gonna tell a coach that. You know, that's not my place.
I get told game, so I'm used to that.
Say that again.
I get told that every game, so I'm used to that. I mean,
I've been being told that for 33 years, so it doesn't go away. Okay.
yeah. But you know, just a couple of things, boss. You know, I want to thank you personally from the bottom of my heart. I hope that you started to understand what this stuff means to me. I know that you have, and you've allowed me to find my passion when you first allowed me to go back out in the fall and help instruct and do those things. Truthfully found my knack for this. I'm thankful for these other three guys that I would be nothing, and this group would be nothing without, for all the work that they've done. So we thank you personally for coming on and joining us and giving us your insight.
Well, like I said earlier, I appreciate you all even considering me. It's a labor of love for me. I take an extreme amount of pride when I can move that guy along the chain and get him a little bit more exposure in a better contest. Look, I'm not gonna lie. It's difficult when these guys leave and they end up going to college ball, you know, on more of a full-time basis, because you work hard with them and you build them but it's a you know, a situation where you're happy for them, but you hate to see them go because you know you got to build another one. And it's something that in this association, the guys that I have around me work real hard for me. We treat it as a business. We communicate with each other on and off the field, and it's something that we've done for a long time, and hopefully we'll continue to do for a long time. But just the one last thing I want to touch on is I thank you guys for doing this. If we can make a difference in one person's life, and they can look at this and see, well, now I know what I have to do as far as dealing with an assigner. I know the road I have to take to get where I want to go here and there. It's making a difference, and that's the important thing. I tell guys all the time now. For me, it's all about relationships. It's all about the people involved. And I know I've been kind of hard on Jacob here, but Jacob does the right things, and he does have the passion for it. And you guys wouldn't be doing this if you didn't have the passion for it. Just keep working hard, and things are going to fall into place. It's a tremendous feeling when you come off the field and you know you nailed it.
And Nick, I know you're going to close this out, but I just want to, for those people that have gotten to this point, we're recording this, so we appreciate you if you've watched this far. I hope the things that you take away from this are just some key points: the importance of the relationship with your assigner, the amount of communication that you have, the level of professionalism that you maintain both on and off the field. Something that I touch on, that this may be a part-time job, and it's the best part-time job in America, but we have to treat it as a full-time job. We all know that not only rule books and all the obvious stuff, but anything like social media, how we handle ourselves in a crowd of people, we all know that we're looked at differently and held to a higher expectation as people, not just umpires. So I hope that you all gather that from this and continue to support us and try and help us get where we're getting, to try and create a new standard for the younger generation of umpires.
Yep, for sure. Shane, just like Jacob said, thanks for joining us. And most importantly, thanks for everything you do for this wonderful game of baseball that we all love. That's above all that. We all wouldn't be here if it wasn't for people like you to push us and mentor us. One word that just comes to mind before I close this out is servant leadership. You're helping and you're serving the younger people to bring them up. That's where it's all at. So thanks for everyone for joining us tonight. We have another guest speaker this Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Chris Lee. He is a independent ball umpire. He's worked the circuits in many leagues, so give us valuable insight into that. So we hope you all can be there. Once again, it's going to be this Friday at 7 p.m. Thanks all.